Welcome to Neural Nexus Podcast, where we explore the hottest topics shaping the world. Let's dive in.
Okay, so you've sent over a couple of really interesting news reports this time, both looking at some pretty intense weather hitting the Midwest. This was Friday, May 16th, 2025.
Yeah, quite the day for that region.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive into these articles from FOX32 Chicago and Fox Weather, really try to understand what was going on in Chicago and St. Louis.
And maybe how these events connect. Because they happen on the same day, which is interesting.
Exactly. That's the mission here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start up north. Chicago, the FOX32 report. Well, it mentions a dust storm warning.
Right. Which immediately sounds unusual for Chicago.
Totally. Not the first thing you think of, is it? This warning was apparently in effect for all of Chicagoland until 8:30 p.m. Central Time that Friday evening.
And what's really striking, the National Weather Service confirmed this was the first time, like the very first time ever, they'd issued a dust storm warning for Chicago.
Wow. Okay, first time ever. That really tells you something significant was happening, atmospherically speaking.
Definitely out of the ordinary.
And the conditions described, winds over 50 miles per hour. That's strong.
Really strong. And visibility dropping way down. The report said as low as 500 feet sometimes.
Imagine trying to drive in that.
Yeah.
Just dust whipping around.
Yeah, not good. And the sources point to why. It seems like a combination of really dry soil.
Right, from plowed fields maybe. And not enough rain recently.
Exactly. The ground was just primed. And apparently a storm system on Thursday missed Chicago.
Ah, okay, so no moisture from that.
Yeah.
Then these powerful winds come along on Friday.
And just pick up all that dry, loose topsoil. Creates a dust cloud.
And the consequences sound pretty serious too.
Yeah.
Hazardous travel, obviously. But the article mentioned actual traffic accidents reported because visibility was so poor.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that weather hazards aren't just about rain or snow. Poor visibility from dust, that's dangerous stuff.
Mm-hmm. The forecast mentioned the winds would ease up later that evening, which is good.
A bit of relief eventually.
But still, if you were driving around Chicago that Friday afternoon or evening, it sounds like you needed extreme caution. The report specifically advised that.
Yeah, good advice. Pay attention to those alerts. Even if it's something unexpected like dust, it can have real impact.
Okay, so while Chicago's dealing with this, unprecedented dust situation, let's shift south. St. Louis.
Right. A completely different kind of weather event hitting there. Much more typically severe.
Yeah, the Fox Weather Report details a storm that actually prompted tornado warnings. And tragically, it had some really serious outcomes.
Yes, that's the most important part here. The reports confirmed at least 4 fatalities and 10 injuries in the St. Louis metro area. Just awful.
Truly devastating. It's a stark reminder of how powerful these storms can be.
Absolutely. And the article puts it in context, too. This wasn't just one isolated storm cell. It was part of a bigger system.
Affecting millions across several states, right?
Yeah.
With risks of tornadoes, damaging winds, big hail, the whole package.
Yeah, suggesting a really potent setup, a large-scale system moving through, generating severe weather across a wide area.
And the damage in St. Louis itself sounded significant. University City got hit hard, apparently. Social media showed trees down everywhere. Plus, there was this firsthand account from a reporter living out at Comms who was in Clayton. She described seeing trees down, some on cars even.
Right, and she spoke to a resident, Rachel. Her description was incredibly vivid.
Yeah, that really stood out. She mentioned green skies.
Which can indicate hail?
Yeah, then whipping winds, then this sudden, eerie quiet.
The calm before, or maybe within.
And then a sound like a train. Which is, that classic tornado sound people report.
It really brings home the intensity and the fear of experiencing something like that, just how quickly it can happen.
And the authorities clearly knew the risk was high. The National Weather Service issued a particularly dangerous situation, or PDS tornado warning.
Yeah, they don't use that lightly. That means there's very high confidence in a life-threatening tornado situation. It covered over 1 million people.
Over 1 million people under that specific warning.
Wow.
And they also spotted a funnel cloud near Fenton, Missouri, which is southwest of St. Louis.
So confirmation that rotation was happening, the threat was absolutely real.
Beyond the immediate danger, the infrastructure took a hit too. Over 100,000 power outages across Missouri.
Mostly in the St. Louis area, yeah. That's a huge number. It takes a long time to recover from that.
And here's a detail I found. Well, surprising. The St. Louis Zoo, it actually got damaged.
Oh, really?
Yeah, damaged enough that they had to close through Saturday. But the good news, the report stressed all the animals were safe.
Okay, well, that's a relief about the animals. But wow, the zoo, too, it just shows you nothing is really immune when a storm like that hits.
Exactly. It affects the whole community fabric. Okay, so let's pause here for a second. We've got this really unusual first ever dust storm in Chicago,
Driven by wind and dry conditions.
happening on the exact same day that St. Louis, not that far south, relatively speaking, is getting hammered by a deadly tornado-warned severe storm.
Two very different weather phenomena, but simultaneous in the same region.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Is there a bigger connection here? A larger weather story?
I think it strongly suggests that, yes, you likely had a large-scale weather pattern influencing the whole Midwest. Maybe a strong low-pressure system or a front positioned in such a way.
That it could create the conditions for both, like pulling dry air and high winds into the northern part for the dust.
While simultaneously providing the moisture, instability, and wind shear needed for severe thunderstorms and tornadoes further south near St. Louis, it's definitely plausible they're linked by the same overarching system.
So wrapping this up then, key takeaways. Chicago experienced something unprecedented, its first ever dust storm warning, thanks to high winds hitting very dry ground, causing hazardous conditions.
While at pretty much the same time, St. Louis faced a devastating severe storm, tornado warnings, tragic loss of life, numerous injuries, and widespread damage to homes, infrastructure, even the zoo.
Both events, though different, had really significant human impacts.
Absolutely. Highlighting the power and sometimes unpredictable nature of weather.
Which leads us to maybe a final thought for you, the listener. When you see two distinct yet simultaneous major weather events like this, a dust storm north, a tornado threat south, relatively close together, what does that make you consider?
Does it make you think about how interconnected weather systems can be across a region?
Yeah, maybe it sparks some curiosity about these larger atmospheric dynamics.
Yeah.
How one big system can spin off such different kinds of extreme weather in different places around the same time. Something to chew on, perhaps.